Hi family and friends. So remember when I told you that I went thrifting and I bought this favorite recipes cookbook for $1? Well, I was looking through it today and I found a recipe that sounded interesting to me called sour cream chocolate cake. And it has squares of chocolate, sour cream, hot coffee. It sounded very interesting to me, and I have home group Bible study tonight. So I thought it might be neat to bring a cake. So I'm going to make this cake and we'll see how it goes. I've never made a cake like this. So I'm assuming that it doesn't say to, this cookbook was written in 1949. So there's lots of liberties in here where I'm assuming they just figured housewives back in 1949 knew what they were doing, and they don't give a whole lot of instructions. So I'm just going to assume, because normally when you make a cake you grease and flour the pan, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So when I was looking through this cookbook this morning, there was lots of interesting. I'm just taking a little bit of butter in my Pampered Chef pan, and I'm just going to rub it around in there. But there's lots of interesting recipes in this cookbook. A lot of these old recipes, they call for things like pimentos, putting your sweet Jello salad on lettuce, things like that, which to me sounds really gross. So I'm going to put a little flour in here. Cover the pan. Sorry if that was loud. All right. So I'm going to bang this off into the garbage. That looks good enough. Alright, so I got that all covered. And then the next thing it says, sift flour, measure, re-sift 3 times with soda and salt. I do not have a sifter, so I'm just going to put it in the bowl and we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to need 2 cups of cake flour, and all I have is all-purpose flour, but we're just going to do what we got to do. So 1, 2, 1 teaspoon of soda powder. So I got baking soda. It's really nice here in Minnesota today. It's 50 degrees and the sun is shining. It's very, very nice. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I've heard that cake flour and regular flour, there is a difference because cake flour is finer. And it would have probably been great if I had a sifter. You know what? That'll be the next thing I look for when I go thrifting. So I think I'm just going to mix this together really well. I'm sure they're wanting me to get all the lumps and clumps, but that's good enough. Now, melt chocolate over the coffee and then cool. 2 squares of chocolate. I have this chocolate here, this intense dark 92% cacao chocolate. So let's see. Let me put you down so you can see what I'm doing here. So maybe it just means 2 squares. Should I put a little extra in there maybe? I put a little bit of extra in there. Just because you never know. Never can tell, right? And then a 1/2 cup of hot coffee. You can use hot water, but why not go all the way and use hot strong coffee? So we'll get a 1/2 cup of hot strong coffee. That sounds really good to me. And we'll stir that up. Oh yeah, it's melting. There's the chocolate. Let's see, what does it say to do next? This has to cool. Cream shortening, add sugar, then whole eggs, beat until fluffy and light colored. Alright, so we'll just let that cool. I think I'm going to pour this flour into a smaller bowl. And I don't have like Crisco shortening or anything like that, so I'm just going to use a 1/2 cup of butter. I generally don't have shortening on hand. So I hope all of these substitutions that I'm doing doesn't make a humongous difference in the cake. Let's see, what else? Let's see. Cream the shortening, add sugar, 1.5 cups of sugar. I don't think I have 1.5 cups of sugar, so another substitution, I'm going to put brown sugar in it. This may turn out absolutely horrible, but then again, it may turn out really nice, so you never know until you try. So 1 and a half. Let me get my mixer out. think my grandmother, Grandma, made the best cake. It was like a Texas sheet cake, and then she put like a, I didn't know the word for it at the time, but like a ganache kind of icing that got, I guess it was kind of a fudgy icing that got hard on the top. Oh my gosh, it was so amazing. I'll have to make that sometime when I find my beaters. And we'll get this mixed up. So I'll get this mixed up and then I will bring you back. Okay, I added the 2 whole eggs in there, and I'm going to beat that up. It is getting light and fluffy. Right down the side of the bowl. I need to give my chocolate a good stir. I think it is all melted. It smells so good. Okay, so I did the soda, salt, and flour, melted chocolate in the hot coffee. I don't think I'm going to let the coffee and chocolate cool completely because I'm kind of in a time crunch, but I'll just stir it for a little bit and hope that it just turns into warm instead of hot. Cream the shortening, add sugar, then the whole eggs, beat until fluffy and light colored. Stir in the melted chocolate. So let me clear off my beaters. Okay, let's see how that tastes. Delicious. Okay, I'm going to stir in the chocolate and coffee. I don't know, I just have a feeling this is going to be really good, even with the substitutions that I made. I don't know what would be the difference in the white granulated sugar and brown sugar. I know it has, the brown sugar has molasses, but I don't know. To me, I just think, well, maybe that would make it taste better. I hope that not cooling the coffee didn't like curdle it or something. Maybe I should taste that and see. Tastes good. It tastes very sweet. Okay, so add the flour mixture alternately with the sour cream. And I need 3/4 cup of sour cream, which is right here. Maybe this will be so incredibly good that I will have found a new cake recipe. All right, so we'll put a little sour cream. Am I supposed to stir? I think so. I think I would feel more comfortable mixing this with the mixer because it doesn't seem to be stirring very well. Wash my hands. I'm going to beat up the sour cream. Of the sour cream. And the last of the flour mixture. Put this away. Really good. Rake the sides down so it all gets mixed in there really nice. I don't ever make homemade cake unless it's like a carrot cake, but I would like to. My husband's not a big cake eater. That's why I don't make them a lot, because it would probably just be me eating them. Excuse me. I'm wondering if it's time for like allergy stuff, because I've been feeling it. Okay. how when you make the box mixes from the grocery store, how they're runny? This is super thick. Let's see what it tastes like. Ooh, that was really good. Okay, so we'll put it in our pan. I can't believe how thick and creamy it is. Maybe that's how all homemade cakes are, I don't know. But it's really beautiful batter. Okay, so here it is. It's really pretty. So I'm going to bake that. I was supposed to make it in two round 8-inch cake plates, but I'm not going to mess with that. So around 30 minutes. So I'm going to put that in the oven, and then I'll bring you back when it comes out. So I'm still waiting for the cake to get done. I have about 10 minutes left, and I thought I just cleaned up my dishes, and I have been craving egg salad sandwiches. So I thought, why don't I boil up some eggs? Today my husband and I went to the town next to us. They have a co-op there, and I was able to get some alfalfa sprouts and some feta cheese. And I was also able to get some arugula for 75% off because it expires in a couple days. So I will certainly eat that up. But I thought, why don't I just boil some eggs so that those can be cooling. And then I can make the egg salad and it can sit overnight. And then we could have egg salad sandwiches with the alfalfa sprouts on them. I guess you could put anything you wanted. I also bought some unsalted pumpkin seeds. That would be really good on an egg salad sandwich. So I'm going to boil up a dozen eggs so that we can make egg salad. So I was thinking, how can I frost this cake? I looked in my cabinet. I do not have any confectionery sugar. So I was looking through the recipe book that the cake came from, and it has frosting for chocolate cake. Calls for a cup of sugar, 1/4 of a cup of butter, 1/4 cup of milk, 1/4 cup of cocoa, and a pinch of salt. You boil it together for 1 minute, cool it, and then beat it and add some nuts to it if you like. That sounds kind of good. I also found this fudge frosting. It's a heaping cup of sugar, 2 level tablespoons of cocoa, 3 tablespoons of milk, 1 egg beaten. You mix it all together and cook it for 3 minutes, stirring constantly, which sounds really delicious too. So I'm torn which one I should put on. Oh, and there's also a fudge one, but it sounds a little more complicated because I really do think it's like making candy. But it sounds kind of like what my grandma made. Cup of sugar, a square of baking chocolate, 1/2 cup of cream, which I only have 1/2 and 1/2, so I don't know if that would work. But you do the softball thing in cold water like you're making candy. I probably wouldn't mess with that since I don't have any cream. So I'm either going to do the fudge frosting, which sounds kind of good, or the frosting for chocolate cake. So I have to make my mind up on that. All right, it's time to check the cake. Ooh, it looks really pretty. I don't think it's done yet though. No. But boy, it smells delicious. I'm gonna add 10 more minutes onto there, just to give it some more time to cook. I decided that I'm going to make the frosting for chocolate cake. So after that comes out of the oven, the cake comes out of the oven, I will be making this frosting for the cake. And I hope I don't run out of time. Let's see, it's almost 4:30. I think I'll do okay. So, all right, I'll bring you back when the cake's done. So I forgot and I started the frosting. I put 1/4 of a stick of butter, 1/4 of a cup of cocoa, 1/4 of a cup of milk, and 1 cup of white sugar. And I'm supposed to melt it and cook it together for, I'm supposed to boil it for 1 minute. That is the cake, so we'll check that. I had to put that in for longer too because it wasn't done. Let me get a toothpick here. It smells really good, but last time I checked it came out all wet. So let's see. Oh, came out clean. All right, here is the cake. It smells amazing. So I'm going to set that by the window here to cool. And I'm going to go and stir my frosting and let it boil for a minute. Okay, my icing has boiled for 1 minute, and so now I have it cooling on a cooling rack. And when it cools, the way I understand the recipe is I'm supposed to beat it with a mixer until it gets nice and creamy, and then it says to add chopped nuts to it. I'm still undecided about that, whether I want to add nuts to it or not. So, but my boiled eggs are done. They're over cooling on the stove. And so I have about an hour or so before I have to leave for my Bible study home group. So I'm hoping that this will be done cooling by then. I have the window open. There's a nice little breeze coming in. So I'm hoping, I'm really confused by this frosting because I just don't understand how it's going to turn out. It tastes really good, so we'll see. So I just wanted to let you know where we're at. All right, so my icing mixture is cooled, so now I am going to blend it, beat it with the mixer, and I don't know what to expect. It does taste very good. The cake smells very good. So I think I'm going to get started on that. All right, so I'm not real sure what difference that made. I mean, it does look a little bit fluffier, but I'm going to go ahead and put it on the cake. There's not much there, so it's going to have to spread out. It's going to be a thinner, but it tastes fudgy. Let's see. Get this spread out. It reminds me a lot of the icing that my grandma used to make that I was telling you about. It's fudgy. It's kind of the consistency of it. Except I don't think this will get hard like fudge. I could be wrong, but get some more out of here. It was so easy to make, and it does taste much better than store-bought icing, that's for sure. And it only had, what, 4 ingredients, I think. So as long as the cake tastes really good. Let's see if I can get some more of this icing out of here to put on the cake. Well, it is kind of hardening up. So I guess you gotta work kind of quickly when you do this. Because it is hardening up. Wonder if this was the icing that my grandmother made. I don't know. All right, well, there is a thin layer of icing. It'll probably be very sweet. And with that, I'm going to end this video. And I'm just going to assume it tastes really good. Let me taste this icing again. It is delicious. So I will put the recipes for these in the description box, and I hope that you enjoy it. If you have any comments or any things that you want me to know, feel free to put them in the comments. So I will leave you at that. Thanks for joining me.